Welcome back to the Hockey on the Hudson podcast. I'm Drew,
I'm Jake.
and this week we're doing our third episode of the season, and Jake will kick us off here with how the Devils have been.
I will. So we're going to be starting at November 14th, which is the Jets and Devils. It was a 6-3 loss for the Devils. Not too much to say here. One upside is 9 different players got on the score sheet for the Devils, which is always nice to see. It's the maximum possible for 3 goals, so cool to see that, but, just getting straight up beat and outplayed by the Jets is pretty rough. And that's a team that's had our number for a while. It'd be nice to see us to start to kick them around a bit, because it's not like they're the best team in the league, but they are pretty good. I'll cut them some slack. They are pretty good. And then we follow that up with a actually good game for the Devils, a good 55 to 60 minute effort with a 5-2 win over the Penguins. First 2 periods, pretty back and forth. Comes out 2-2, but then in the third period, the Devils really blow it wide open with 3 goals on Jari. Penguins have nothing to respond, and Devils win 5-2. I watched it with my girlfriend, who's a Penguins fan, and she said the Penguins beat themselves. The Devils didn't even play good. The Devils are just that bad, or the Penguins. But I'm going to give the Devils credit here. I think they played it really good. It was their best game of the season up until then. So I think they deserve the credit. Next game's against the Rangers. We're going to skip over that for a little bit. Spoiler alert, though, the Rangers did win. But it was a good game. So we'll have some talking about it. We'll talk about it after we recap all the other games, have a little discussion. We follow it up with the Red Wings against the Devils. Now, this was the worst game of the entire season. So you have like the best game 2 seasons ago. You have a solid effort, but you don't find a way to win. And then you just drop a 4-0 loss to the Red Wings. It was brutal to watch. The Devils had nothing. Nothing went right for them. And I don't even mean like to their own fault. They got 16 shots off all game. They just played terrible. Actually, there is one cool highlight about this game that's just pretty unique. Was the Devils were wearing black helmets on the road.
Oh,
which it was pretty. Yeah, it's weird.
Is that not? That's not allowed by the league.
It wasn't. It recently did become allowed. I'm not sure the exact policy change, but it was a rule thing. I did see a clarification on it. Gotcha. So they were allowed to do it as long as it doesn't conflict with the home players' helmets or something like that. But yeah, it actually looked really cool. It looked unusual because I was just so not used to seeing it. But it did look really cool, although we'll never wear them again. You got shut out 4-0. And that was after a streak of 101 games without getting shut out for the Devils. So those black helmets really fucked us up, eh? Then we go in against the Blue Jackets. Losing 2-1 to the only team below the Devils in the Metro. Oh, absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. Devils played a decent game, I guess, but you don't find a way to win. You don't find a way to beat Merzlikins. They shoot 38 shots on him. Only 1 gets by. They started the game. They just did not play well. Like the Blue Jackets goals, just, you really don't want to let them get in behind you like that, get those greasy goals, man wide open. You let Johnny Gaudreau get a point, for God's sakes.
Oh, no.
I know. It's terrible. I was happy. I almost went to this game, too. By the way, I did forget to mention, because we haven't talked about the Rangers game yet. The Rangers game was the game where Jack Hughes came back to play. So in these last 2 games, he's there. He put up, obviously, no points in the Red Wings game. He puts up multiple points. He puts up 2 points in the Rangers games, and then none in the Blue Jackets because he only got 1. So, not really a lot of scoring, but he did look really good. He looked amazing in the Rangers game. But he is back now, And in the next game here against the Sabres, we get the return of Nico Hischier. And that was very substantial. The team completely in these next last two games I'm going to talk about here, they look like a whole nother team. I'm sure it's not entirely because of Nico Hischier, but I can also tell you it's definitely a very big part of it. He leads this team really well, and so we come out and destroy the Sabres. Full 60 minutes playing by the Devils. They win 7-2 over the Sabres. It was fantastic. They limit the Sabres to 12 shots all game. And what was really interesting is Jack Hughes only gets one assist this game. It was like the rest of the team coming together. Not that Jack Hughes didn't fire a million shots on goal, because he did, but he just couldn't seem to beat the goaltender. But Luke Hughes, 2-point night, including a goal. Dougie Hamilton, 2-point night, and he's been struggling. Jesper Bratt, Alex Holtz, a goal and an assist. Nico Hischier, 2 points, of course. He also got a goal in his return. So it's been amazing. Tyler Toffoli, 2 goals. Is anyone surprised? Please tell me if anyone is surprised by that. But fantastic game. You love to see it. Kicked Eric Comrie out of the net in the first period, and Devils legend. But it was fantastic. Wish I went to that one in person. Our editor did, but I did not, unfortunately.
I almost stole his hat at that game.
Yeah, you did. You did. And then finally, the game from last night on November 28th was the Devils over the Islanders 5-4. We beat the Islanders earlier in the season by a score of 5-4 in overtime. This one, while it was very close to going to overtime, it was in regulation. So another great effort for the bulk of the game, but there we had this issue towards the late in the second period where the Devils let in 3 goals in a short time period, which is something we've seen a lot this season. And it's a big problem that needs to be corrected a bit and worked on, because you can play a great 45-minute game, 50-minute game, and then you give up 3 goals in 5 to 8 minutes every game. You're going to lose most of those games. So they win this one, but they blow a 2-1 lead and end up down 4-2 very suddenly, and then they have to work their way back. The good thing is, in third, Islanders got a little sloppy, and on their own power play, they end up taking 2 penalties and let the Devils right back in. I mean, we actually scored before there with, I believe, a Michael McLeod goal. But then Jack Hughes scores on the power play, because you go from up with a 5-4 advantage to now you're down a man 4-3. And the Devils are going to score on you 4-on-3 most of the time. I mean, they're easily one of the best overtime teams in the league. Now you give them an overtime power play in regulation, they're probably going to score. And that's exactly what they do. They don't quite score on the next power play after that, so it goes 4-4 into the final minute. Fourth line is on the ice, and Curtis Lazar powers in a greasy goal, technically an own goal, with 25 seconds remaining, and the Devils prevent the Islanders from getting a point and win 5-4 in regulation. Much better close to the week here, or the last 2 weeks. It's 3-4 over that period. It's got to be better, but it looks like it's getting better. So next game is Flyers, then Sharks. 2 games you got to win. And I'll be at both of them, so please win them both.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Right,
you'll have some good insight on those games next week. It'll be cool.
And I will, for the first time, be going to an away arena for a Devils game. I've been to MSG for Rangers games, but it was never against the Devils. But but okay, it was a Stanley Cup playoff game for the Rangers. I think it counts as going to the arena.
Yeah, that's so funny.
It's against the Canadians in
that's a good one.
2014. Yeah,
2014.
it was.
Which game was that? Was that the Marty St. Louis game?
5. It was game 5.
Oh my God. We were both at that game. I just want you to know that.
You were at that game? I was there with
Brendan. That's the Marty St. Louis game. where he scored right after his mother died. He scored a goal. He scored like 2 goals or something like that. I can't remember, but it was a really emotional goal for him. He was like crying on the bench afterwards. It was really sweet,
Is that a?
and he helped us
Well,
win.
I know that. Was that a playoff game though?
What was a playoff
Because
game, dude?
I thought it was on Mother's. Oh yeah, no, maybe that makes sense then.
Yeah. What was that? Or was that game 4? I can't
I
remember.
mean,
I might be wrong, but yeah.
I guess Mother's Day would make sense. May. Okay. Which, by the way, that was Game 6
Game
against the
6.
Penguins. Against the
Oh
Penguins.
shit! No,
So
that
wrong round.
was
Game 6 against the Penguins. It definitely was.
really.
I assure you it was. Yeah. Well, because I thought May 12th had to be too early because you played the Canadians in the conference final. So I thought it was like a little weird. And yeah,
Oh,
that
what
was
the
Game
fuck,
6 against the
dude? That's
Penguins.
weird. My memory is really shot. Then, holy crap!
I mean, it was 2014. It was a decade ago. So
I know
I
that's
don't know if my
wild.
memory's quite shot.
It's that same year though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So we'll start from the beginning of the Blue Jackets game. Kreider bails us out in the first goal, and in the first period. It was absolutely abysmal in the first period for the Rangers, especially against the Blue Jackets, where it's like they're just a struggling team already. We should be better than that, but Columbus scores 2 goals back to back, which really kills the mood of the game for the Rangers. And then we get a goal from Alexis Lafreniere, which was very nice. Good to see during his point streak. Of course, those 2 goals just completely destroyed all momentum, and the Rangers at one point almost got the momentum back with a goal, but Merzlikins covers the puck while it's in the net, and the ref does not blow their whistle at all, and everybody is screaming, "It's in the net! It's in the net!" And they ended up calling it a good goal at first as the ref comes over and looks, and then they challenge the goal, and of course, because the Rangers are at this point 0 for like I think it's like 11 at this point in the season on reviewed goals going our way, which is a crazy stat to start the
Well,
season.
for the most part,
Really,
yeah.
it
But
is.
if a
It
goal
is.
is getting reviewed, there's a good shot.
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
getting
just
reviewed
it's
for a
just funny
reason.
the circumstances in which it
Of
happens. Like
course.
this one is very funny, especially with the following Devils game, and we'll talk about it.
Yes, it really is. I
because
completely agree.
because the play they come out on the ice and they're like it's no goal because the ref meant to blow his whistle, which is a rule. Like I get it. It's a rule of the NHL. But what the
It is.
actual hell is
It
that
is
rule?
ridiculous. It is
Oh my god.
ridiculous.
It's so silly, especially because the puck was already like by the time the ref actually would have blown the whistle to stop the play, like which is like a full second after the goalie usually has the puck, the puck was already in the net. I mean, nobody can see it because Merzlikins is literally sitting on top of it, but he pulls it
Yeah.
out from the net, and he didn't move the entire time. Like he literally just stayed in the one spot on top of the puck. So not even like the in the net cam could see it. You could see it like go like 3/4 of the way across the line, and then it slides underneath his pads. And so it's unfortunate. It really is, but it doesn't matter anyways because in the last 11 seconds, Alexis Lafreniere taps one in from Kreider, real garbage goal, but it was totally. Well, I mean, we'll take it at this point, and he gets 2 in the game, which is really awesome. And that'll take us to shootouts, which I hate so much. Um,
Terrible.
Panarin misses his. Zabinajad doesn't even hit the net, and then of course, so nobody scored at this point. And Alexis Lafreniere just kind of skates down very nonchalantly and then goes forehand, backhand, and lifts it right over Merz's shoulder. And it just goes right in. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Who would have known? First round, first pick of the draft. Who would have known, right?
Yeah, right.
Texier comes back and misses on Jonathan Quick, so we end up winning the game 4-3 in a shootout, which was really nice to not lose in a shootout this time. And that brings us to the Devils game, which we'll get back to in a minute
Yeah.
here. But a very good game nonetheless. It was Jake and I always ask the least all we want from our seasons is good Rangers Devils games. And
Mm-hmm.
since we've started doing the podcast, not consistently, but at least in the last couple of years, they've been so good every single time they play. But anyways, we'll go to the 6-3 Dallas loss. Which sucked. But anyways, my parents were there. That was cool. You could see them on camera. Yeah, like you could actually make out my mom's like blonde, silvery hair because there's like all like green around her. It was really
Yeah.
funny. We gotta, I gotta say the good things that were about this were our power play really, really rolling, really hot right now. We also get a Capo Caco goal. It was a very lucky goal. I
No
mean,
way.
yeah, he literally just throws it in front, like tries to smack it in front, and it hits off a defenseman's blade and goes right in. It's like, we'll take it. We'll take it. And then it basically goes something. And then it goes all downhill from there. They score 6 goals straight. Well, technically 4 goals and 2 empty netters, but I mean, it was brutal, absolutely brutal. And then Barclay Goodrow gets one at the end of the game. So it was a bad loss to a really good team. Like I'll take it. And the Rangers like kind of gave up halfway through, which not great, but still our first loss in like it was like 4 or 5 games. So we'll, it's good. And then we had the Philly game, a 3-1 Philly. Or sorry, am I missing a game here? Oh no, sorry, I am. I'm missing the. I'll go over this very quickly because nothing really happened. It was two teams playing very badly the whole game. The Penguins versus the Rangers, which is either usually the case when the Rangers play each other. Either it's all goalies when it's Rangers Penguins, or it's just all goals. There's no in between. And Alexi Lafreniere gets one in the very beginning. It was a beautiful goal. He does that same forehand backhand move that he did in the shootout versus Columbus, and it goes right over Jari's shoulder. Beautiful, and that gives us the win. So that was nice. And now on to the Philly game. I hate to mention that Philly is good. It hurts because they've struggled so much and they've made not many adjustments, not many big adjustments to their team to make it better. You'd think they would just keep getting worse, like a Columbus team or something like that, but they've been doing really well. And the Rangers dominated, and so did Igor. That was really what gave us the win was Igor. We got 2 quick from Mika and Chris Kreider, which was really nice. And then in the second period, Zibanejad pots another one, and we get the win, which is really great. So at this point, doing really, really good in the year. Been really awesome. There were some stats that I had, which now are gone, but we'll just move on to the best game of the season. I'm honestly going to say it like this. I don't think anything will top this game. It's the Boston game. We end up winning this one 7-4, which was just freaking crazy. Absolutely shootout.
Attempted murder.
Yes, Trouba did attempt to murder somebody, but it's Boston, so let's get real. Anyways, so we get a goal from Nick Bonino. It was his first as a Ranger. Really awesome. He also leads skaters in block shots. Kind of a cool stat. Yeah, really cool. Really Kreider gets one on the power play. Gustafsson just shoots it through, and it squibbles like right underneath Ullmark, and Kreider just smashes it in. Because you just can't give that up for Kreider. Too easy for him. And Bruins then take a timeout, and this is like in the first 5 minutes of the game, by the way, or 10 minutes, my bad. They take a timeout and they come back and score 2 quick goals. Really well done. Great coaching by Boston, honestly. Really awesome. And to get a contribution from your veteran and a rookie, it's pretty great. And of course, Chris Kreider, shorthanded on a breakaway, just absolutely beats Ullmark. It was so great. So good to see that Kreider from like 2 years ago come back and really have that breakaway goal. We get a really sneaky goal from Pastrnak on Quick. He just slips it right through his legs on the power play. and brings us to 4-2, or sorry, 3-3 in the game. And then we have the hero of the Devils game, Jimmy Vesey, come out and score a goal, which was a really sweet goal. Just scores on the rebound, just in the right spot at the right time. And then the Rangers start to really stretch this one out. Keandre Miller comes flying in and blasts one from the top circle just to, right over Olmark's shoulder. And then we got Tyler Pitlick joining in on it, making it 6-3. Charlie Coyle ends up getting his second one, which when he plays the Rangers, he always scores like every single time. So I wasn't surprised that he scored two. And then our Timmy Panarin gets one after not scoring for three, or scoring a point for 3 games. So good. After doing so well in the beginning of the season, yeah, good little bounce back for Panarin there. So we'll move on to the worst game that probably happened, which was the 5-1 Buffalo loss. Dude, Luko, or you want to say it, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen? Yeah, I can't say his name, but the man dominated.
I love him.
Yeah, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. He's such a good goalie. He's so good, and just destroyed the Rangers. Casey Middlestat had a great game, and really, honestly, manhandled the Rangers. So hats off to them. We got 1 power play goal, which is nice to see the power play keep going. Not, just even with everything that's going on in the game. And the worst part of all is Kaapo Kakko landing on his. He gets. So I don't have a clip right now, Jake, but maybe you should go check it out of the injury, because he was slewfoot. He definitely was slewfoot. I mean, like, going against the boards, the player came forward, took his leg out from under him, and he fell on his left leg.
I mean,
it was bad.
I'm inclined to agree with you because of what Buffalo did to our captain. I mean,
yeah. I can't remember which player it was, but
pretty much.
Luckily, we got and this was 2 nights ago, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was.
Luckily, 2 nights. Luckily, since then, Kakko was placed on LTIR. He is not going to be season-ending. It's not going to be a season-ending injury. He's going to miss significant time, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, it wasn't. We were thinking maybe a broken shin bone, just because of how his leg bent.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad mentioned that he did the exact same thing and hyperextended his knee once, and it looked just like that. So we're hoping it's a hyperextension of his knee. And I forget that you can hyperextend by bending things the right way too far. And I think that may have been what happened, because I did it the opposite way with my elbow. So
yeah, done it to my fingers a handful of times. It's not fun.
Yeah. But anyways, that's not a bad last couple of weeks for the Rangers. Definitely going to suck losing Kakko, but Adam Fox is slated to make his comeback after. It might be today, or sorry, at the time we're recording this, which would be the 29th, or the 30th. I'm not sure when he's coming back, but it'll be good to get Fox back, and hopefully we can make something work with missing a right winger. So we'll see.
And now we can talk about the Devils-Rangers game. So on November 18th, we were all tuning in. This was actually during a Friendsgiving I was having.
Oh, so was it really?
I had a bunch of people in my room watching the Devils-Rangers game, drinking and eating and screaming. But it was fun.
Yeah, I bet. So yeah, I mean, what to say? I mean, it was we had Shesterkin back this game, Lindy got back this game, and then immediately took a high hit. How do you want to?
Well, I mean, I'll give my general thoughts on the tilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think overall, I think we agreed with this when we were texting. But I think the Devils played a better game overall, not by an insane margin, but definitely played better. However, they made more mistakes that end up in the back of their net. Particularly, I'm thinking the second VC goal, the second Panarin goal, like just kind of forgetting they're there. Puck gets through. Maybe you get a little bit of a lucky bounce on one of them, but lucky bounce or not, it's in the back of the net. The Devils have to see Jimmy Vesey just standing there. They have to see Panarin just standing there off to the side, like he's fucking a stone statue, like he's Ovechkin or whatever, just standing there. You gotta be paying attention to that. You gotta watch out for Vesey streaking down when the puck's behind the net, so that he can't just get a nice little tap in. Vanacek wouldn't have a chance. So it was a close game, of course. Came down to the very end. It was a 4-3 before an empty netter. For Blake Wheeler, I believe, right? But it was it was a fun game, but the frustrating. It's one where two really teams playing really good, and one team finds a way to win by taking advantage of the other's mistakes. Where the Devils, of course, took advantage of Rangers' mistakes plenty, especially Jack Hughes. He was all on your ass the entire game. I mean, Hughes, definitely. 8 shots on goal, a goal, an assist. The first goal we will talk about, because that was a little bit weird. It was like, the reverse of... Sorry, which game was it? Was that the Blue Jackets?
So it was,
yeah. There's a bit of the reverse where it's like, oh, sorry, the ref was going to blow the whistle, so it doesn't count. In this case, the ref did blow the whistle, but then it counted.
which oh my god. So I just want to say I was looking this up after, because I was like this is bullshit. Okay, to be fair too, the Rangers did not have a game since the Columbus game for a week.
Yes,
so we went from that goal to this goal. And what was so funny about it was I was reading the rules, and there is a written rule for both of these instances where a ref can say he wanted to blow the whistle, or if the whistle was blown, but there shows that the puck was gonna go into the net, and the ref didn't mean to blow the whistle because he didn't see the puck, then it means it can go in. They're both written rules in the NHL, and I'm like, oh my god, pick one. Come on.
In defense, it makes a lot of sense to me, right?
Yes,
like, if there is something. And sure, like this goal definitely falls into the rule. The Columbus one is a little bit weirder, but I think a biggest issue with that was the camera angles.
I definitely think this one was a goal. Yeah, this one was definitely a goal.
You can think of these situations for both of the rules where it makes a lot of sense. Like if you're in the if a ref sees something that has to stop the play immediately, and then the puck just goes flying into the net. But he didn't get enough time to blow the whistle. I mean, sure, yeah, it shouldn't count. The play should have been dead because, I don't know, the offensive team committed a clear infraction and then scored before the whistle went up, right? Shouldn't count. And then for this one, the ref just jumped on blowing that whistle so fast because he thought, he was like, oh, it's just going to be a routine save for Shesterkin. Jack Hughes just rips it at him. And it goes right into his gut, and so he just blows the whistle immediately. But from the behind camera of Shesterkin, the puck is on its side, just rolling towards the net. I mean, it literally curves in towards the net. Like that puck wanted to go in.
I know. So it's so funny. I was like,
Shesterkin's legs in a very comedic way, and the refs go together, and they're like, "Well, I mean that is a continuation play." I think is the exact term they used. I think it's continuation play. So makes sense. That one was certainly good, even though the Columbus one was obviously much more arguable.
I know. It's just so funny that it happened in back-to-back games.
Back-to-back games, 1 week apart.
Oh my god, it was just so silly, and there was a lot of I'm not gonna lie, the reffing in this. I literally have a section in my docket that says refs are poo poo, because this season has been so bad in the consistency at which the refs have been.
Yeah,
there were a couple calls in this game that were okay, the Trouba hit was definitely a clean hit, but at the same time,
I was gonna touch on that.
I mean, Nosek is staring down at his feet trying to find the puck in the front of the net, and Trouba should not hit the guy the way that he did. Like, you know, center mass, it's a good hit, like technically, but the guy had his head down. He's defenseless. Like
Yeah,
that to me, that's a roughing call because that's going overboard, right? And that is what roughing is for.
I agree with
That's
that
the
for
whole
sure.
point.
Yeah.
And
I,
then there was, yeah. Keep going. Go ahead.
yeah, just really quick touch on it is like I think also something to keep in mind is the player. I mean, Truba does this stuff all the time. You watch the play. Nosek he's got his head buried in the ice. He's a fucking ostrich in this play.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's because like the reason why he was doing that, for those of you who haven't watched the game, like the puck was like bobbling all around in his skates and sticks, and he's right by Shesterkin, so he's like trying to desperately figure this shit out, and then Truba just comes in and just nails him, shoving his neck like right into his torso, like completely destroys his head. And
It was a
Nosek,
bad hit. Yeah.
it was bad.
It's
It was
bad.
bad. And the biggest concerning thing was so right after puck keeps flying for a little bit, I think. Not for super long.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Nosek gets up immediately and then falls down, and he was completely unable to stand. He kept trying to stand up and falling over. At the end, you see him scaling up the net to try to stand up. So I don't know if they fully announced it. I don't believe they have, but I mean it's likely a concussion. He's only on IR,
Yeah.
so maybe not, but definitely some sort of head injury. Yeah, it was bad. Clean hit, yes, but extremely dangerous, and Nosek pays the price.
There's another thing with the Truba hits is like definitely his height and his mass, like how big of a guy he is. And that is exactly what ends up happening to Lindy or Lindgren later in the game. He gets hit by who was that by? I can't even remember.
Damn, who the hell just hit Lindy Ruff?
Not Lindy Ruff.
Yes, I do. It was Michael McLeod.
That's right. Michael McLeod is a bigger dude, and so when he hits, Lindgren square in the chest, it hits him in the, also hits his
chin a little
face.
bit, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's very funny, like watching what the refs won't call and will call in terms of penalties, and both of those missed out on. And I'm not saying that the Lindgren one should have been a penalty, but it's interesting to see what they'll, basically what goes and what doesn't go.
That was actually really interesting to me in particular because, while Truba, I think that there just wasn't a call there, right? Like at all. I don't think.
There was no call. Oh, that's right.
That had been no call. The Michael McLeod one was the yes, and so that was when you watch it back, you can see why they would call it. They called it on the ice as a 5-minute major penalty.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm watching this replay. I'm like, well, that's a clean fucking hit. I get it. It's dangerous. But also, Truba just murdered a guy on the other side of the ice with a way more egregious headshot.
Yeah.
But I get it. I get the idea. And so, but it's
that
clean
one goes
hit.
from it goes from 5 minutes call on the ice. 5 minutes on the ice, then 2 minutes when the refs goes to review it, and then they review it and it's no call. That's what was funny about it.
I was going to clarify that a little bit more.
Okay.
Is the reason why they can do that is they can't do that if they call a 2-minute penalty. If they call a 2-minute roughing there, or I don't know, some interference or whatever the hell they want to just call there, they can't review it. They can only do that because it's a 5-minute call. And so they take it to review to see if it should be reduced to 2 minutes. And then they're watching it and they're like, oh yeah, there's just no penalty. And so then they can now overturn it to no penalty instead of a 2-minute. You see these a lot more common with certain high sticks, like major high sticks, which although that is a relative or rare thing, that speaking of Truba, Mr. Repeat Offender, we didn't really touch on that during the Bruins game. He just pops up and just takes a full-on swing to take someone's head off. I don't even know who it was. He did not get a penalty for that. That was crazy.
He's fined $5,000 for it.
Base. Yeah, he should be suspended for that. He baseball swung at the back of a guy's head and hits him in the back of the head.
I know it looks really bad on the slow-mo,
It's
and especially
crazy
from
to
that
me.
camera angle. It when it's in full speed and you watch that clip, it's not nearly as bad as that. It
I
is still
believe
bad.
that, but I
Don't
didn't
get
see
me
it
wrong.
live.
It is really, really bad. He just swung his head at a defenseless player, like staring at him. It
Yeah,
didn't even it hit his helmet. It did not even hit his head. It hit like the side of his
well,
helmet. Well, no, in full speed. That's literally what happens. You could see his helmet brush by and his head not move. And what's funny is
oh, I see
literally
what you
just
mean.
nothing
I
gets called.
see what you mean. I see what you
Yeah,
mean.
nothing
Yeah,
gets called. Like it was so bad. And the
it was a
camera angle
chaotic
that they
scene.
had it for the slow mo was so bad. It was like the worst camera angle you could have it. If it was on the other side of the ice and
It
in the
looks a little
exact
better.
same spot, it would have looked fine. It would have looked like Truba was trying to move his stick forward and just kind of brought it up into his face. But instead,
Pull
that
the clip
camera
there.
angle just looks like he whips his body around and smashes him. It's so bad. It's so
Yeah, because they're like wrestling, and then he literally just fully rotates his body and just smacks him with the stick. I'm
yeah,
watching
it's
it
bad.
right now. It looks
Oh,
nasty. Yeah, I see what you mean. It kind of glides over the helmet. Like if it
yeah.
was maybe a half inch lower, I don't think it would have caught the groove, and he would have just fully thwacked him. But yeah, it
Oh
does
yeah,
kind of like
yeah, absolutely.
go over.
And
Yeah, like
what's funny is like there was no intent to do that. It was just him moving
I
his
think
body,
yeah, he was trying to whip the stick over him really quickly to get in front of him,
which is what
but just
players
hits him
do
in the
all the
back of the
time.
head.
Yeah, which is
Your stick
stupid.
is in
They do it
control.
all the time and they get called every time because they hit the player in the head. And I hate when players do it. It's so dumb. It's like,
Yeah,
could you really do a dumber high stick? But he doesn't get called on that.
yeah. That's the
Not at all.
that's the
Yeah.
definition of you have to be in control of your stick. And actually, I did see his interview after. I mean, that's exactly what he said. He was just like, it was unacceptable. You
Yeah.
have to be in
Which is
control
what
of
he
your stick.
says for
Take the
them.
fine and move on. And the league will always let him move on. Although, yeah, in this case, no one was injured or anything terrible, so take the fine and move on. But yeah, that
I
was a
know.
really
I saw
dangerous,
people
potentially
comparing it
dangerous
to
play.
that Cassian slash from I think it was 2 years ago or something like that in the playoffs, where Cassian literally just slashes somebody like two hands slap like chop like tomahawk chop
Yeah,
to somebody's head. That is, and some people are like, "Man, Cassian does that, and Truba does the same thing." It's like, the guys, it was not the same. It was not.
it was not that bad. Yeah,
It wasn't that bad. Look, it was definitely finable and suspendable, but it wasn't like 10 games and a maximum fine.
yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Uh, But anyways, back to the Devils game. We had there was a lot of weird reffing and things like that. But the other thing that was really interested is did you a lot of your goals, at least to me, seemed kind of fluky. It just was maybe soft goaltending from Shesty. I don't know how you felt about that.
I have to rewatch them. It's been a little while, and we were definitely
Okay.
drinking during it. But I don't necessarily remember the
Yeah.
Jack Hughes ones. But I do remember what you mean being like a little bit softer, a little bit more greasy, especially when you see Palat score. I mean, Palat's goal was actually really good, but whenever you see Palat scoring in the game this season, there's some grease going on, a little bit of not the
Yeah.
cleanest, not what you normally see from the Devils in terms of goals, and I definitely agree. I think Shesterkin was pretty good. I mean, it definitely wasn't his best game. It wasn't a great game for him. I mean, he lets in 3 goals on 33 shots. It's a 909.
Mhm.
It's good. It's not
Yeah.
bad. But,
It was his first game back from. It was his
it is
first
his
game
first
back.
game back.
Yeah.
It is his first game back, yeah. Just like, it's like saying, it's not great for Jack Hughes only getting 2 points, 2 points that game. But, it's his first game back. He'll get 4 in the next one. So it's fine.
And
Yeah,
I
these
mean, there's not
guys at
much
the
more
top
to
of their
really
class.
say about the game. I mean, Jimmy VC definitely took the game and ran away with it. I think he definitely had the
Yeah.
best game out of everybody on the ice.
His positioning was what got him those goals. It was just he had really best positioning. It was well played. It's Devils legend Jimmy Vesey.
Yeah, Rangers Devils legend.
Yeah, Rangers
We both
Devils
have.
Rangers legend.
Yeah, we. Oh my God, Rangers Devils Rangers. And then yeah, so you mind if I ask you a couple questions about the last couple weeks here?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I've got to ask, how confident are, because when we were, it kind of ties into the Devils game as well. When we were watching, the one question I had was, or the one thing I kept thinking when I saw the Devils was definitely like, damn, the defense just does not look
Yep.
there.
Does not look good.
And do you feel like it's just like you have good depth in your defense? It's just that they're not executing, or do you feel like there's kind of a little bit of both at this point?
So yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that there's a little bit of issues going on all around. I think the defense on a smaller note is just suffering in general from just all of the injuries, the lineup getting changed. Brendan Smith is a defenseman one game, forward the next. Funny thing, I'll have to talk about him when we start talking about players. But I think all around, the defense is trying to do too much to spring offense because our offense isn't scoring enough. And they're getting caught. They're getting caught in 4K all the freaking time. They like odd man rushes out the wazoo. Like VC, exactly. It was like just sitting there in front of that. No one notices him. Then the puck's on his stick and it's a free goal, game-winning goal. So, it's stuff like that where I think the injuries up front is taking more of a toll on what's happening in the back than you really think. It's just they're trying to do too much. They need to settle down, rely on their defense, let the forwards do the forward thing. Not saying don't jump up in the rush or contribute, but if you're down by a goal, I don't want to see Dougie Hamilton and Luke Hughes behind the net at the same time, behind the opposing net at the same time, because they're trying to force so much offense. And then all of a sudden, all we have rushing back to defend is Jack Hughes and Curtis Lazar, which honestly, they'd probably do a pretty good job. But, I'd rather have Dougie Hamilton and Luke Hughes going back there because they're defensemen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's their job. So yeah,
Oh my God.
but yeah, I think it's getting better slowly, but there's still those mistakes. You can still see them; they still happen. They happened against the Islanders last night, so it's getting there.
And then the other thing that I was looking at when I was looking at stats was Brat is up there like your number right now. No, you're number two. When I was looking, he was number one. Your number 2 point scorer. Do you think that pace is sustainable for Brat? I love the guy. Brat's awesome, but that is I don't know. I've just never been that player to do that kind of pace.
Jesper Bratt?
Yeah, he's
You
at
don't
like.
think so? Well, he
been point per game before?
He was over a point per game last season.
Okay. Did he finish over point per game?
Yes. And currently he's at. Here, I can tell you exactly. I'm pretty sure he did, unless I'm wrong, which would be. Oh no, he did not. Sorry, I was thinking of Nico Hischier. You're right. I was thinking of Nico Hischier.
Okay.
He was not, but he was close to a point per game last season. And then this season, he's now producing at 25 points over 20 games. I think that's very sustainable. I think he's been a little bit slower recently, but missing. I mean, he's usually on a line with, Bratt or Hughes, at least one of them. Meyer or Hughes, at least one of them. Nico's been gone forever. Nico just came back, and his points have started to go back up again. So I think the people on his center is very important, and on his other wing. But I think he can. My main problem with Jesper Bratt, and I've said this for years, is he is very streaky. He does go on these tears, and then he'll be silent for a handful of games. So that's always going to be a concern. But yeah, I think he can. Of course, he's still behind Jack Hughes, which is really amazing just to see the pure impact Jack Hughes has, especially now that he's back. Is second place is Jess Bratt with 25 points in 20 games. Very good. Very good. Third is Tyler Toffoli with 19 points in 20 games, 11 of which are goals. Very good. Jack Hughes, in 15 games played, has 26 points to lead the team. I mean, that is slower than his pace to start the season, of course, but I mean, he easily could be like a
Those are like
2 point per
NHL
game
Pro numbers.
player for like he could almost be like a 2 point per game player at some point in his career, like Connor McDavid
Yeah.
style. Like he just could. He could be finishing seasons with like 1.7, even more. That kid is amazing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I can't wait to see him to continue the growth, but to grow. All right. Any
Nice.
other question?
Do you
me?
have any notes about your injured players, or do you feel like there's anything?
Oh yeah, I did want to talk about that. I hadn't mentioned it yet.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I do have quite some notes on that. It's really weird to look at, and I accidentally closed my notes, of course, in true fashion. But I know it anyway. So over these last 2 weeks, we see players come back like Nico Heischer and Jack. I mean, the two largest players, but we were almost like substituting them out. Like the Devils cannot get past this injury bug right now. I mean, we got our two top forwards back, but now Meyer's been out for a week now. Eric Holla is out, and he won't play for a little while. I mean, at least Timo Meyer's skating again, just solo skating sessions, not playing hockey, but at least he's like getting back. Maybe see him within a week. Eric Holla is out, and he's one of the best, most consistent players on the team. Dougie Hamilton just got injured last game, so now we might even be losing our top D, which is not the thing we need right now. Even though I've been disappointed with his play recently, losing your number one D is never good. So hopefully he's okay. They haven't. It's an upper body injury. They haven't said anything on it yet, but I have my doubts for him against Philly tomorrow. We'll just see. And then obviously we talked about the Nosek injury. He's going to be out for a while.
Yeah,
But,
definitely. Oh yeah, in regards to that, Hedel is also probably out with a concussion, and that it's something that he has been going through his entire career, unfortunately.
With a
and
concussion
so like
mission.
yeah, it's been like once a year where he's had to like sit out for like a month or something, and it's really really unfortunate. So I hope Nosek is okay, because it was a brutal hit, and to watch him. The worst part about those hits is definitely watching them try to get back up afterwards, because those guys want to keep playing, but it's like, dude, your brain just smashed into the front of your skull and then rattled around. You need to take a break.
Yeah, I mean,
Please get better.
I can say, like, from experience, like, that's happened to me, and I'm not at the NHL level of obliteration. I mean, I got my head bashed into a floor by a knee while playing volleyball. I got up and kept playing. I mean, the getting up is where you're stumbling. Everyone's like freaking out. I'm like, I'm fine, and spitting blood out of my mouth. I finished the game, and then I collapsed. It's scary, the standing up. Every time I see someone not able to stand up correctly like that, it's the scariest thing to me.
I know, I hate that. And half the reason why I hate watching Trouba play.
When it's a head injury, it's very different than an injured leg or whatever. So yeah, it's always scary.
Oof, yeah.
No, it's not pretty. Hopefully no injury, but you can just tell. You can tell when it's a head injury, and those are obviously the scariest.
I was going to ask you, did you see that Taylor Hall is getting knee surgery?
I did. I did see he's out for the season. Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of respect for him, so it's unfortunate. There's a lot actually to talk about with the Hawks, but we'll hold off for a second. We'll finish talking about our teams, and then we'll move on very briefly. So, okay, I want to ask you. So, just give me a little rundown. Very simple. Gotta expect this question. Artemi Panarin slowed down a bit, but still 30 points in 20 games. Tell me your thoughts.
30 points in 20 games, I will take it. It's still really good pacing for him, and I think he kind of did this his first year he was with us, where he scored like close to 90 something. Like, I know he scored over 90 points.
I was gonna say, didn't his first season, didn't he get like 100, like well over 100? Or was that the
He
second
may
season?
have been well over 100. I can't. You'll have to check that for me.
I
But
feel like I remember a 128 point season somewhere. Let me check.
so he definitely has those spans during that kind of season where he doesn't show up for a game or two, and I'm totally okay with it because a player like him, he's a little bit older, and while he is slower, he's not as fast as the other
Didn't
players
quite
on the
crack
ice.
100.
No, that's what I thought. Yeah, I thought he didn't crack 100.
Close.
So
95.
he's on pace to do that this year. Well, I would love to see that happen. So, but he does have those times during those better seasons where he slacks off for like a game or two. And it's not like he's slacking off. He's still making plays, but he's like the third or fourth pass out. And then also if he's supposed to get, he'll miss an assist or something because the other team's player like hit the puck kind of briefly and they counted it as possession, and then that kind of thing. Like there was one goal he should have had an assist, but basically that happened, and they called back his assist later at night. So I'm really not worried about Artemi slowing down. I think he's still Artemi. He's gunning for the heart.
Wait, give me 1 second here. I'm gonna just do a quick math here to just add on a little extra point here. So just for reference, the reason I thought it was over 100 is because he was scoring at well over 100 point per game pace. This was the 2020 season, so it got shortened.
Yes.
1920. So he was scoring at 113. If he played all 82 games and the season didn't get shortened, he was at pace for 113 points. Just for a
And
little
that was the
extra
shortened season,
there.
right?
That was the one that got cut off early at 69 games.
I think Kreider was also on pace for something stupid that season as well, but I can't remember. I know he was at least doing better. But anyways, yeah. It's good to see Panarin really putting up points this year because he didn't last year. So not as much, at least.
All right. What would you say is of course. What would you say is like the largest weakness on this team right now? Because you're seeing a very successful season right now, extremely successful, one of your best starts ever. So what's the weakness? What are you not liking?
The right wing is definitely our weakness, especially with Kakko out now, because Blake Wheeler is a great player. You see it when he's playing against teams. You can see where he's trying to go and what he's trying to do, and you can tell it's going to be like if he could get to the puck, it would be a great move. It would be a great decision. He'd probably have an assist, but he is just not that kind of player anymore. I think he's close to 40 years old. He's an older guy who's slowed down a ton. He's one of 3 players in the league currently that have played that played in Atlanta. Older guy, and it's so frustrating because his skill is all there, but he's can't be on our first line as our right winger, but he is, and so that is really rough. And then to lose Kakko who's not having a great season, but at least he was a good forechecker. He was really good, like a really good defensive forward. His defensive numbers this year have been crazy. He's like a really good defensive forward this year. That's another thing where I wasn't too worried about him points wise. Like I know it'll come. He's just in a different role right now. Hopefully he's okay. So this definitely gives us an opportunity to see a couple things happen. One, we're going to have Adam Edstrom, who's this is crazy. He's 6'2", or 6'3", and he's a forward, and he's a handsy forward. Like he can dangle the puck like nobody's business, and he's like 6'3". It's like watching Chara dangle the puck, especially at the AHL level, because these guys are all a little bit smaller. It's really funny. So he'll be in, I think, today for the game and for Kakko. So we'll see what that can happen. And then also Brendan Othman, who is our number 1 point scorer in the AHL right now. He is our next big right winger. Like he's a first round draft pick. He could fit the slot, but we're trying not to rush him because you see what happens in years past, the Rangers rushing players.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, of course.
hopefully we wait. Hopefully, if Kakko's not back by the end of the season, I would hope that they give Othman a shot. But in the meantime, this Edstrom experiment will be interesting, and I'll definitely be
Yeah.
up for it and try to see what happens. A 6'3". I watched a clip last night of this guy moving doing a dangle around somebody and just putting one like top shelf, and it looked so awkward. He was so tall. He's like all legs, so it'll be really interesting to see.
All legs, no torso.
Yeah, do those legs go all the way up? Why, yes, they do. I love that clip. Oh my god. Yeah,
That's a good one.
and we're gonna get in trouble for that one.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god.
But that's a good answer. I was just looking at the positions on your roster now because I was looking at the stats. And it's funny, you only have 2 right wings listed on your entire roster. And one of them is Kakko. And the other is Blake Wheeler. And even though it's your only 2 right wings on the roster, they both combined for a grand total of 9 points in 40 combined games.
Yeah, that's why we have like a.
That is a tough right wing.
Dude, I play NHL all the time, and it has a really hard problem keeping up with the fact that the team only has 2 right wings and 6 left wing centers. It's so weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the right wing is definitely a struggler for the Rangers, but it makes sense. I mean, we have players who can play both wing and
centers on the roster.
and centers used to be a huge problem. Everybody would complain about centers, and then it's like, well, we got 6 of them now. What do you want?
Well, to be fair, one of those is Filipino, of course, and he's out. But yeah, it's really funny.
I'm glad I don't have to say that my defense is bad, and we're rolling 7 NHL players, not 6 players and Brendan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
That's brutal.
Yeah. I can't wait to talk about Brendan Smith after this. One last question.
Yeah.
So, very simple one. I'm just curious, who do you think is doing better this season? Jonathan Quick or Igor Shesterkin? Quick's stats are better in a only slightly smaller sample size.
And I think Shesterkin has had the worst matchups. And then also the last game was definitely the big tell. I think usually a team, when a backup goalie comes in, they play a little bit better. That is absolutely what's happening right now. And this kind of starting to hit the middle of the season where the players are starting to rely on Igor, because it's like, oh, we got Igor in net. But it's like, guys, play defense. He's the best goalie, yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, help him out. And so, the Buffalo game where we got blown out and he gets pulled, it was not his fault. Those goals were not those were goals that were all goal scorer goals. They were really well but they were getting all the danger chances. In the first period, I think Buffalo got it's a couple shots, 1 or 2 or something like that. Because they had all the high quality chances, but they couldn't put it on net. The Rangers were letting them walk in all over the ice, and that unfortunately happens with him. And then the other thing is, Quick he's a veteran, and he's also very good at he's a rebound machine in terms that he will produce so many rebounds, but at the same time, he's very flexible. So he's able to get back in and make these incredible saves, but they're heart attack saves. They're not like the dude could have just gloved the puck in the beginning, but no, he had to hit the puck down, and then he had to make 3 leg saves while he's sprawled out on the ice. I get it, it's NHL. You do whatever you can to make the save, but it just gives me a heart attack every time. Shesterkin is the more solid goaltender. Quick is just hot right now.
Yeah,
I think that's what's going on.
Stats. Hasn't lost a single point, he's lost 1 single point, but hasn't had any regulation losses. Very impressive.
Yeah, and he had 2 shutouts, which were, honestly, they were games where the Rangers just dominated anyways. They weren't Like
Well, that's
there
usually
was,
how
I
you
think
get
there was,
shutouts.
I know, yeah, but there are some times like I remember Brodeur and Lundqvist would. There were times where they would get shutouts, and their team did not deserve a shutout in the
Of
slightest.
course, of course.
So and you know, you would think, I don't know. You would think Quick. I mean, maybe not this stage in his career, but maybe he'd be. He's definitely to that degree of goaltending, and I think Shesterkin is as well. Although he's again looked a little soft. So I don't know. I mean, Quick has definitely looked better. Let's put it that way. My final answer.
Okay, cool. I like to see that.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just take a turn. We'll mention one or two hot players, one or two disappointing players on each team. I will go first here really quick. I'm going to get the funny one out of the way. We're going to talk about the so hot Brendan Smith. Now, this kid sucks on defense. All right, I'm going to send you a meme while I talk about this that you're going to laugh at and no one else will be able to see. This kid, he's just been so bad on defense. I mean, you know, he's a veteran. He is a really good penalty killer. I'll give him credit for that. He's a super physical player. I think he has the most penalty minutes on the team. I think he's had 3 fights this season already. He kicked the living crap out of Anders Lee yesterday. He also fought. Did he fight someone in the Rangers game? Did he fight Trouba? No, he didn't fight Trouba. I don't know. He had another fight recently.
I don't know.
I think it might have been the Rangers game, but I'm not completely sure. And then oh no, he fought Connor Clifton actually. It was kind of a quick fight, but Connor Clifton was the guy who hit Nico in the head and took him out for a while. So Brendan Smith went
That
right
is
after
so
him.
true. Oh my god, that meme is very true. And why? Why isn't he just a fourth line
Well, exactly.
winger?
So let me explain. Yeah, because so he's shit at defense, but when on offense, he's been on for the last 3 games. He's been on a fourth line forward. He's been amazing. He actually had probably was one of the best players against Buffalo. To be completely honest, that dude, he was going crazy. He was lighting them up, shot after shot. Brendan Smith, he will never score. I've already decided that he will never score in his tenure as a Devil. It's just not in the cards for him. But he was getting shots on goal like crazy. He's gotten 2 assists in like the last 3 games. He has 2 points. Brendan Smith has points. All he does is penalty kill and sit in the back and turn over the puck. But he's actually been really good as a forward. So it's just been fun to see. So that's the funny one. All right, who's your hot player?
Artemi Panarin. I mean, who else?
Gotta say so.
30 points in 20 games. What more to say, really? I mean, he is okay. I do have to say it. He's 6th in the league in points right now, which is a lot lower for 30 points in 20 games than you would think. And it's not like there's a lot of ties. There's a lot of scoring this year. A lot of scoring, especially from the Vancouver Canucks, which is just weird. So, but yeah,
Not a
Artemi
bad
Panarin.
team.
What about you? Got another one?
Yeah, I'm curious about a stat. I want to see like where the ranks are. If you maybe look this up while I talk about the player, but look up point per game, like who has the highest point per game right now, PPG. Because like
Oh yeah, definitely.
I am very curious about that. Because Jack Hughes is definitely at a higher point per game place than most.
Points per game.
I'm curious where he is right now.
No,
okay,
that's
so
power play goals. Hold on.
My other hot player right now would be Nico Hischier. He came back. He only has 9 games on the season. He's been out for a while since that Buffalo game. But he comes back in against Buffalo, just take it out right where he left off. And he scores a goal immediately. I think he's got 2 goals since coming back, 3 points, I think. The team has been alive. They haven't lost since he's returned. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens in the next about week and a half. And then you guys will hear about it in 2 weeks. But Nico Hischier, hot, beautiful, and one hell of a leader. So he definitely gets the nod for me this week.
Okay, so perfect timing too. Let's see, points per game right now. Logan Cooley. 16.
Really?
Wait, no, that can't be right.
That can't be right. I was like, I don't think he has that
Percentage
many
of
points.
why
He's
do
like
they?
open on my fantasy.
Oh no, they just do it weird here. Hold on, this website's fucking weird.
You can give me another player in the meantime. It's not a big deal.
Uh,
I was just kind of
Quick,
curious.
Quick is my am I the one? He's 6-0-1 this season with
That makes
a
sense.
1.99 goals against per game average, which is really awesome. And of course, those two sweet shutouts, which are really awesome. He's also known for having shutouts, and I did not know that. That was something that was said by one of the broadcasters the other night. Uh, he's a fantastic goalie. He gives me a heart attack every single time he tries to save the puck, which he does most of the time, which is good. But still a heart attack when he's like flat on the ice. He made a save literally where he threw his body on the ice and threw his back glove hand like back over his like the back of his body and made a save like twisted up around. And there was no reason to do that. He had no reason to throw
I
himself
love
on
goalies.
the ice to begin with. Yeah, so that was interesting
Love
for
to some
sure.
goofy shit. The
Points per
last
game,
thing.
really quick.
Oh yeah, you found it.
Yeah. So Nikita Kucherov right now, 1.682. Kale McCarr, number 2 at 1.5. JT Miller at 1.5. Artemi Panarin at 1.5.
Um,
Pasternak,
Jack
1.4.
Hughes is above all of those in points per game, by the way.
Well, yeah, what's going on here? Where is he? He's just not on this list. He doesn't have a points per game, Jake.
His points per game is 1.73.
Because he would be
It's
top
just
of the list. What is happening here?
It's the first time he said, I'm pretty sure Jack's already above that, but maybe I just did the math in my head wrong.
Dude,
But
is
double
he
check.
just not a player?
I don't know.
They just
Maybe
not
they
have
said
him?
minimum. Maybe they said minimum amount of games because he's only played 15 games.
Oh, minimum of 20. I got you.
There you go. Minimum of 20 is crazy. That rules out a bunch of teams in the league.
Wait, hold on. It was set to that like already.
There's some teams who literally can't even participate. Do it at 15. They're like, yeah, 15. If you can
I
change
can't even
that.
do it at 15. No, it won't let me change it. It
Well,
won't let me
that is
change it.
disappointing, but that's okay. We all know Jack Hughes is at the top. We all know Jack's at the top, so we're chilling. All right, so we'll just do one disappointing player from each team. Ow. And I will go with right now. I mean, I gotta say he's injured, but Dougie Hamilton. I think that he is the player I go back to game after game, and I'm like, dude, he's got a -8 right now. Which don't read into that too much, but takes a lot of penalties and not always the good kind. All out of position, leading to goals being scored on us, and he hasn't been producing as much as he should be. He's only got 5 goals in 20 games, which is good. 16 points, 20 games. Not gonna dish on it too hard, but for Dougie Hamilton, it's a little bit lower than you want. So you want to see him hopefully not be injured and come back and pick it up because we rely on him a lot. So you gotta see that leadership and scoring and good defense, particularly coming out of him.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my one disappointing player, I mentioned last week that I'm not disappointed about Capo Caco, but I am disappointed. But now I can't be disappointed because he's also injured. So, yeah, Capo Caco. It's sad. I just hope for a good recovery and he comes back better than he started the season. Hopefully, like you said, hopefully a fresh start will jumpstart him a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that is our Rangers and Devils updates. Let's talk a little bit about some news going around the league. We had quite the crazy day yesterday around the league. I'm sure if you guys are listening to a hockey podcast, I'm sure you know about a lot of it. Let's start at the beginning because first thing of note was Patrick Kane signed in Detroit.
Did he actually sign, or did he just say that he chose Detroit?
I think, yeah. I mean, I think he's gonna. Yeah, he signed. If it hasn't been finished yet, it will be like
I want to know.
Considering the sources it comes from. I mean, I would be a shock if it didn't.
I want to know. Yeah, okay. They made his signing official yesterday.
Yes, 1 year, $2.75 million deal. Very,
He'll be back
very
next
good
week.
deal for the Red Wings. I don't know how good he'll be, but I mean, $2.75 million for one season. Fuck yeah, why not? What else are you doing with that money? I mean, the biggest one is, I guess you might as well touch on it now. There's a couple other things, but we'll do the Corey Perry situation. Won't read too much into the details, won't contribute to rumors at all. But as you know, Corey Perry's been terminated from the Chicago Blackhawks for an incident that occurred last week. There was tons and tons of rumors involving a teammate and his family. That was definitely not true. There was a press conference. I never thought it was true. It was, even though it was a little funny, there's some really funny memes posted about it. This is like a real person we're talking about, and this does weigh a lot in their family life. So, people have a little bit of a open mind when you're going on Twitter and posting all these things about Connor Bedard and his mom and Corey Perry. These are humans. There's a lot going on, and it's going to weigh on them mentally, even if they seem so far above us that you just don't even think they would care. They're NHL players, make millions of dollars, but let's temper back. Let's just wait till the facts. But we do know Corey Perry did something really bad with a team employee, and enough that they said no more. And I'm going to guess this is likely the end of his career, because it seems really bad. One specific quote I want to point towards was Kyle Davidson called it, like, everything happening over these last week is truly disturbing. And he was choking up while saying disturbing. He was like almost crying. So something really bad happened. So that's why I'm just, very careful about it. But yeah, really, really sad in the hockey world.
It is very sad. And I know it's people and everything, and these are real people, but at the same time, with the way that Corey Perry plays and how mean he is, for this to happen to anyone else, when I saw that Corey Perry's contract was being terminated, I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And I'm not saying he's a bad person or anything like that. Of course, it's just you kind of get those vibes sometimes from somebody, and that definitely felt the case. It's just weird. And honestly, like, there's a lot of people who don't like Corey Perry to begin with. So a lot of those rumors that came out, and I know some of them were kind of funny or whatever, but there was one that just got pushed like way over the edge. And yeah, that was just fucked. Absolutely fucked.
Yeah, it's really bad.
The other thing that was really bad that I feel like the Blackhawks organization did not do well was any kind of consistency in the reports they were giving. Because at one point, I remember this like a couple days ago, where it said that Corey Perry, on his own accord, is leaving the team. But then another statement came out like an hour later from the Blackhawk organization that said that we made him take time off. And then you get the contract termination a couple days later. So it was very interesting to see, and I'm sure they were probably going through the whole process of whatever they needed to get it vetted and to be able to terminate an NHL contract. I'm sure there's a lot of steps that go through with that, but it was interesting for it to last almost a week, the rumors and everything.
Yeah, the tough thing with that is there's it's easy for releases from the team, from the players, from whoever, and rumors that are telephone gamed by reporters out into Twitter and stuff, so that you can get these like fine details mixed up. Like, obviously we know now from the official 10-minute press conference with Kyle Davidson that, like, absolutely not. The team's like, nope, we can never have him here again. It is a legal situation. It's not an on-ice thing. It's possible something criminal could happen. We don't know. I'm not going to say too much, but it's possible. It's on the table. So it's likely they're dealing with police, investigators, all kinds of stuff. So they can't reveal any products, or any real updates. So it's frustrating from the outside looking in. Like, I want to know, like, how bad is this? Are we looking at like Corey Perry just signing somewhere else next year, because it's like, oh, okay, it's like really bad, but like, who knows? Whatever. There's things like that, like Milan Lucic. There's other like players that have done bad stuff and can still come back and play.
Patrick Kane,
Or are we looking at like sure? Or are we looking
allegedly.
at yeah? At least the Lucic ones are all proven, but
Yeah, well, that one, yeah.
you see, or will we see Corey Perry in behind bars? Like we don't we could be either. I mean, and I'm sure this is certainly going to taint his legendary status in Anaheim. Like that sucks for even Ducks fans. It's like, wow, well, this guy who we really respected for so long, and now it's like, great, he just ruined it all in one day. So it sucks. We won't touch on it much more, but that is something that had to be addressed because it was a pretty dark and wild, turbulent day in the NHL yesterday.
Yeah, it was very confusing for a lot of people, I bet.
There's a lot going on. All right, so let's just look around the league at the standings. Who's good? Who's disappointing? What's going on? You give me a take first.
So I've actually got two quick little things. The Oilers going bad. But also, did you see the clip of the Oilers player in warmups with no helmet on, firing the puck at an empty net, hitting the crossbar, and it hitting him back in the face?
No.
Does that not sum up the Oilers season more
That's
than anything you could ever say?
Why was there a player on with no helmet during warmups?
So
that's weird.
It was a grandfathered rule. So this is a player who's been in the league long enough that the rule to have a helmet on during warmups is something that only happened it's like 5-10 years ago. So there still are players that can, yeah.
No, that's
anyway.
New this year. That's a new rule for everyone this year. I think you're confusing it with the visor, required visor.
No, it wasn't. No. He was helmetless. That is an actual because they were explaining that he doesn't. You don't have to wear a helmet during warmups. I guess if you've been in the league before the rule, but most people are gonna probably wear the helmet. I would assume. I mean, I would wear a helmet.
It's definitely not before the rule, at the very least, because that just happened. But
it is grandfathered in. That is most of how the NHL rules work in terms of those things for players. And then also we had the Tkachuk game. I don't know if you watched that.
Florida versus I see what Ottawa. Happened. It is grandfathered in, but retroactively. So it is a new rule this season, which I knew that. But the apparently they did it retroactive to the 2019 season. So most people don't have to wear a helmet. Okay, that makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay.
It was last season that this rule became official.
Yeah. Anyways, did you see the Panthers Ottawa game?
Yes, of course you didn't. It was hilarious.
The grandmother watching from the stands as the Tkachuk brothers are yelling at and screaming at each other. There's there is nobody else on the ice but those two yelling at each other. It's hilarious. And I know if my brother and I played hockey and we're both in the NHL on separate teams, that is exactly how it would be.
I just love the call from the ref. Just like 2-minute penalty for roughing, 2-minute penalty to Senators. Everybody else on the ice, 10-minute misconduct. Just everybody else who was on the ice, just get out of here. And then the benches, I think each had a total of 12 people, which is really funny because there's 5 people on the ice or 6 people on the ice. So you look at the bench and there's just 6 people standing there.
I know the benches were so empty that the backup goalies could have middle of the bench seats. Just so good. Oh my god!
Quite the game.
Oh yeah, and the Panthers absolutely blew out the Senators too. I mean, it was a brutal slaughter.
Yeah, 5-0 is pretty rough. Actually, I think that was. Oh no! If I'm correct, the Panthers got shut out the night before, or, well, at least the game before. I don't know when. So, way to come back, have a crazy ass game, and get a shutout. I suppose. All right, who else for me? I mean, of course, Edmonton is always super disappointing. The Sharks have been fun recently. They're starting to put together some wins, string together them a little bit. They're on a win streak right now. They are 5,
2
15,
games.
and 2. 2's a streak, baby. That's literally a
Right.
very famous hockey thing. 2's a streak.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they've been fun to watch. They are very fun to watch, especially seeing like old like Fabian Zetterlund be like one of their absolute best players. When third line player for the Devils, fourth line sometimes. So it's cool to see him get like a real standout chance to prove and develop, even though the team's ass. Mackenzie Blackwood as well, another ex-Devil on the Sharks who really getting a chance to prove himself and come back. Who has been particularly exciting for you?
Exciting? I guess Dallas, really, honestly, for me, they've been watched them play for the first time this year since when they beat the Rangers. And I have watched 2 of their games since. They are a really good team. They've always kind of been in that slot in the last like couple years where they've been like third or wild card in the Central or even second, and they're really solidly in the second right now. I think they have a very good chance to jump the Avalanche this year. They have a game in hand and they're only 2 points behind. So I think it'll be a really good year for them if they can keep it up at least.
Yeah, I am thoroughly impressed as well with 2 teams that I thought would be a little bit lower than they are, but maybe not true. I was always high on the Coyotes, but the Coyotes are at above 500, and the Blues are at 11-9-1 right now. That 548 point percentage. Talk about surprising, right? I thought the Blues would be below the Coyotes for sure, but here they are. Predators are making a comeback. Wild are probably the most disappointing team in the league by far, only because I like to see the Oilers lose. Actually, they're behind the Oilers now. Oh my God, Minnesota, what is happening to you? That's horrible. Yeah, it's been a rough look over there. I will say I'll make one blanket statement in general. The East is just so much better than the West. I mean, the second to last team, yeah, but more than even usual. But like the second to last team in like the seventh or in the Metro is 500. Like in the Pacific, which is just the worst division I've ever seen, there's only 3 teams above 500. Yikes.
Yeah, it's bad.
The Pacific's actually kind of fun though. I do like
watching bad hockey.
No, but because it's competitive. Like we could look at the Ducks making the playoffs this year. We could see the Oilers missing, and like the Ducks, Kraken, Kings, Canucks. Well, we're not going to see 4 teams from it, but Knights, Canucks, Kings, Ducks, or something like that. I think it's possible. I mean, Ducks are slipping recently, which has sucked because they've been doing so well for so long. But I just hope the Oilers don't come back. They're on a 3-game win. Holy crap, the Ducks have been really bad recently. I thought they were on a 3-game losing streak. They're on a 7-game losing streak.
Yeah, the Oilers picked up the Rangers AHL coach, who I thought should have gotten the NHL job. But, Laviolette's working for us. So Chris Knobloch is his name. And he's doing a good job over there, which, I mean, you have Connor McDavid and Draisaitl and all those guys. Chris Knobloch with a K.
Oh, Knobloch. I wish it was Snowblock. That'd be fun.
Knobloch.
Be fun for a snow sport.
Yeah, but it is interesting. It's good to see him do well over there. Like watching Lindy Ruff go to New Jersey and do well.
Tear it up.
Yeah. Man, I do really like our wild card system that we have. It makes it a lot more competitive, especially for those bottom place teams.
It'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. There's a lot going on this season that is yet to be resolved. Like the Flyers being 3rd in the Metro.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
And the Capitals having a good record.
I honestly think it'll be a battle between the Capitals and the Flyers for that 3rd position. We'll see.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think if anybody, it's just going to be Devils, and I mean, obviously, Devils are probably going to. Well, Devils are definitely going to be in the top three. I would hope. No, there's no way Flyers and Capitals could hang on that long. Not a chance. If anything, it's the Penguins.
Yeah, I mean,
It
the
looks
Penguins
like
have been
likely.
look
I
bad,
mean,
but
I think what the likely thing to happen is Rangers fall down to earth a little. Devils pick up their pace, and then we'll see them start duking for second and third again. Like, I just think that's likely. But if the Rangers can keep this going for say another 10 games, getting like 7 or 8 wins, it might be pretty clear of Carolina for a while, potentially the entire season. But you also have to keep in mind Carolina came off to a slow start, and they've been on a heater recently.
yeah, they tend to go on heaters.
They do.
Team is pretty good.
They do. They always seem to pop out a 10-game win streak at some point this season. They lost a couple of days ago, but still. All right, yeah, that'll be cool for around the league. Any all right, let's do like little hot takes maybe. We'll wrap her up here.
Sure. I've only got one this year, and I was this is based on a little metric.
It's an entire year. Only one.
No. This is just adding to my. I think I actually have one this year. The Maple Leafs don't make the playoffs, which I'm still gonna stand by. But I've added a new one, and it is going to be the Sharks only get 30 points this year. Their current metric right now with league average goaltending, so above their average goaltending, is 35 points. That's where they'll finish by current projection.
I actually think they're already receiving league average or better goaltending. It's just they have no defense.
Oh, is it really? Well, who is their goalie?
Blackwood.
It's Blackwood. Well, yeah.
Gives him place for the Ducks.
Yeah, that's better than league average, I'd say.
Well, it wasn't for a while when he played the Devils because of his injury. I just mean from what I've watched this year, he's actually been. I mean, all of their first win and OT loss and like second win, that was the only player was Blackwood the entire game. I mean, like you look at a lot of their wins and where their margin is, it's like a 2-1 victory. That's goaltending.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I'll change my hot take to only 35. But the Sharks only get 35 points this year, and we'll see if that rings true.
I think 30 points is definitely a fair hot take. 35. I mean, it's a hot take for a reason. I think it's definitely possible.
30 to 35.
Yeah, it's definitely possible they only get 35. I think. Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's a good hot take range. I think it's definitely possible. Yeah. I think unlikely.
It would be funny.
They're not.
It would be very funny.
It would be. It would be way more funny if the Oilers did that.
Oh my god. Well, I think they're already past that point. I don't think they're gonna end like that. It would still be great if Connor McDavid like came back and had like 100-point season. Like they still finish like bottom 3.
Yeah. I mean, I really hope they don't pick up just because it would be funny to see the Oilers lose, even though Connor McDavid is on my fantasy team, and I do like Connor McDavid, but I also want to see him leave Edmonton because they don't.
Yeah, free Connor McDavid.
They don't deserve Connor McDavid at this point.
They've wasted so many years.
Wasting so much time. Free him and free Bedard from Chicago.
Free Bedard from Chicago. That shit show that is Chicago. Oh my god. Well, anyways, what is your hot take of the week here?
All right. I will go. Where do I want to go with this? I mean, at one point in the week, I'd say I would be tempted to say Devils missed the playoffs, but I think they're fine now that with the way that the injury balancing is happening. I think they'll probably. I think they have a good shot to finish ahead of any particular team in the Metro at some point this season, so I'm not too scared. But I will go. I will go Blues make the playoffs. I think. I don't think they will, but I think they have a good enough shot to garner. Actually, they have a pretty damn good shot. I'm really looking at it because if you think about it, the Central are probably going to go 5 teams in. I mean, they're competing with the Pacific, who, as we just mentioned, like they only have 3 teams above 500 a quarter of the way through the season. So yeah, I think, and the entire Central have games in hand. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go Blues make the playoffs, and I guess I'll add in 2 teams because the Wild are probably gonna miss. They just fired their entire coaching staff, so we'll say Blues and Yotes make it as the wild cards in the West. That'd be fun. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. It's a good one.
Yeah. It's
right.
I mean, it's a little disappointing because I'm a fan of the Wild, but I'm not so confident in them right now, being third to last in the league and all.
They really have a good team put together. I mean, even in the beginning of the season, they came out really good, and then they just totally dropped the ball. And it's hard to watch.
And Kaprizov has not been doing well.
Yeah, well, look, he's a rookie player who's really small, and when you can figure out how to play against a small guy in the league,
he's been in the league for 3 years, but
I know, still young. Isn't he still only 21 or something like that? 22? Or is he a little bit older?
When he was a rookie, he was 24, I think.
That's right. Yeah, he joined the league late. That's right.
I think so. Yeah, he's 26.
Ooh, all right.
All right. That'll be it for this week. I'll try to get the next one out to you soon. Thank you for listening. See you again.
Thank you all.